This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Hoffman. Today is Tuesday, December the 6th, 2022. We're so glad you could come along with us today. Coming up a little later in the program, I talk with American Soybean Association Vice President Daryl Cates, who's also an Illinois farmer. We talk Farm Bill and also a recent trip he took to Cambodia. We'll also take a look at that ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down those markets. It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. Well, we're at the end of another trading day today, and we're turning to Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. Robin, what did we see out there on those grain markets?
Well, we saw quite a divergence between soybeans and corn and wheat, which we see that, ever so often. But corn just could not get anything going, really, and that was because of China seems to be, or not seems to be, has been turning more of their buying attention to Brazil. They made that agreement here about a couple weeks ago, and so they've been stepping up to buy from Brazil because their corn is actually cheaper priced than the U.S. at this point in time. So that impacts our demand further than it already has been impacted. So corn just couldn't really get things going. Yesterday, March closed a chart gap that had been sitting there for quite some time. The market is hovering right at that chart gap of 638. It doesn't seem to be getting the real impact from the buyers or traders to buy into that market at this point in time. Now, there was soybean side, there was a large sale of soybeans to China of 264,000 metric ton. That was an overnight sale, plus another 240,000 metric ton to an unknown destination. That really got the juices going for the traders to buy into soybeans, and the soybean meal was a phenomenal increase in the teens today as traders just were buying into that market quite regularly. Now, Brazil planting is at 91% complete. That's up 4% from last week, so they're moving right along. They're a little bit less than a year ago, but they're moving right along pretty well. Now, on the wheat side, Australia is anticipating a record wheat crop of 36.6 million tons. That's up 1% from a year ago. So even though they've had some issues with rain there, maybe affecting quality wheat crop, it is having they are still looking at a record crop. So that's why wheat, as well as demand and the buyers, traders, just not interested in buying into the wheat market at this point in time. So we saw that divergence today. And of course, a lower wheat price does impact the corn price as well. So they kind of work hand in hand.
All right. And, we were talking about Argentina, and they're changing the value of the real for them so they can sell more beans. But are we seeing them have enough beans to sell? I mean, they've been going through drought just like we have in the Midwest.
Yeah, that's going to be the thing. They're expected to see, their planting is behind because they're waiting for some more moisture, and they want to increase or change that currency situation to increase the benefit more for exports. But the thing is they have to have the commodity to sell. And if they're going to have an impact, and that's going to be a lingering drought that continues there. Now, they did have some rain in some areas later last week, but they need a lot more, just like we need in our drought areas. They have to have the product in order to sell and to make it, to take advantage of that attractive currency change. So that's all where it comes down to. The bottom line is the supply-demand situation.
So moving over to the livestock side of things, cattle and hogs, what did they do today?
Well, cattle took a beating, somewhat unexpected by many in the trade. Triple-digit losses. The anticipation was steady to higher cash prices again this week Now they're looking at maybe steady at best. Choice cuts yesterday reached the lowest price level they were so far this year. And then really when we came into the midday postings of the prices, Choice was down another 96 cents and Select was down another 68 cents. Now, because of the continued weakness in the cutouts, packers are expected to start pulling back on chain speed, or slaughter speed, I should say. They're reducing chain speed in order to try to improve their margins. And with some of the economic news that we had earlier this week, or I should say yesterday and today, now there's some concern about increasing the interest rate maybe to 0.75% next time, as well as maybe taking longer because there's going to be more buying power by the consumer. They're going to keep on buying, which might fuel inflation a little bit more. And that's could have a real impact on the overall, demand side, as far as the agricultural products, primarily the beef. Over in the hogs sector, they were hit hard today with over $3 loss on February contract. Now, December was higher today because that's going off the board next week. So that's really a non-issue. That's going to stay right close with the index right at this point in time. But later, hogs were hit hard. There's anticipation there that the demand is not surfacing like they would have anticipated, like they want. We have been seeing some reduced cutout prices there, but yet at midday today, cutouts were up $5.74. So it looks like there's a little bit of an interest to restock shelves after the weekend. But yet we're looking at both the livestock sectors as having a potential impact of slowing of demand. And that's what's really putting the trade on edge right now.
All right, Robin. Well, if folks out there want to talk about what strategies they have available in their marketing operation, how do they get in touch with agmarket.net?
They can call me directly at 877-256-3253 or go to our website, agmarket.net. There's main phone numbers on there. Anybody will be glad to work to help with them.
All right, Robin. Well, thanks for the insight, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right. Thank you for letting me become a part of it.
That again was Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. Let's take a look at the closing numbers, courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. March corn was down 3 1/4 at 637 1/4. May down 3 1/4 at 639 even. December new crop down 2 for 2023 at 593 1/4. January beans up 17 1/4 at 1455 even. March up 16 1/2 at 1461 1/2. November 23 new crop up a dime at 1386 3/4. Soy meal for January up $16.50 at $448.60 per ton. Soy oil for January down 95 cents at $61.62. March Chicago wheat down a dime at $7.29 even. Minneapolis down 6 cents at $8.96. Kansas wheat down 11 3/4 at $8.30 even. March oats up 1 1/4 at $3.37. December live cattle down $1.67 at $51.55. January feeders down $1.97 at $181.80. December lean hogs up 20 cents at $82.27. Pork cutouts down 40 cents at $89.20. December class 3 milk up 3 cents at $20.44. And that's been our ag market recap. We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, I talk with American Soybean Association Vice President Daryl Cates. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to AMPM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Well, during the NAFB convention in Kansas City last month, I had the chance to visit with American Soybean Association Vice President Daryl Cates. We talked about the situation surrounding the Farm Bill and what the new Congress is going to look like. We also talked about a trade trip he took to Cambodia. Here's what he had to say. Well, right now we're talking with American Soybean Association Vice President Daryl Cates. He's an Illinois soybean farmer. Daryl, thanks so much for taking the time to visit today.
Very good. I'm pleased to be here with you.
All right, so 2022, obviously a challenging year across the board in the country. Tell us a little bit about what kind of took away from this growing season.
It seems like there is not a normal year anymore. Every year is another, what challenge are we going to be faced with? This year we started off wet. I had a wet spring, and then all of a sudden it dried up enough that we got in and started planting, and we did not get very much corn planted in April. Ended up most of it was planted in May, and finally I decided we were getting close to the June time frame, and I decided to quit planting the corn and concentrate on going with beans, especially with the nitrogen cost. And I didn't want corn pollinating in the heat of the summer by planting in June. So we ended up with less acres of corn this year, planted more acres of beans, and then things were going along, and then all of a sudden when she turned off, it got dry. And we had a dry June, and the first week and a half of July was dry. And then finally we did get a rain that if we wouldn't have got that, our corn crop would have been a disaster. We ended up with a little bit below average, probably about a 10 bushel less than normal on our corn yields. Our beans were average to above average this year.
Well, that's definitely good news there. But so now we got to look ahead to 2023. What do producers need to know? What's the Soybean Association working on to kind of keep the soybeans relevant and growing into the next year?
Well, one of the big things coming up will be the new farm bill. Hopefully, with the new Congress, we can get that knocked out this year. I mean, there's talk that they definitely want to get that done. So hopefully that is one of the priorities to get done this year. One of the issues in our focus groups is our farmers definitely want to keep the crop insurance in place. It's our big safety net, and definitely need to keep that there. Another issue is we're hoping to try and convince Congress that agriculture needs a bigger piece of the pie, and we're being challenged in other countries to be able to try and increase exports into developing markets and stuff. So we've kind of been left sitting behind on getting extra funding for doing this, and so that's some of the things that are looking into.
Now, obviously, the Farm Bill, we just heard earlier this week that Republicans did take control of the House. Democrats will have a control of the Senate. Normally, agriculture stuff in the committee is pretty bipartisan. It's more regional than it is party lines. But once you get it into the full House and Senate, that's where things can get a little interesting, especially when you have food stamps and things like that as part of it. How do we make sure that we keep that agriculture piece strong? How do we make sure that we can get to maybe tone down some of the rancor that maybe will go on and make it important that they realize this has to go through for everybody? It doesn't matter what party you belong to.
I think that it's basically one good thing with our Washington, D.C. staff is that we have good working relationships on both sides, and to try and keep those relationships going. The thing is that what is very important is I think that they House on both sides have to realize that I think the country tried to tell them that they want to change and need to be working together and have the better bipartisan, and so that hopefully we go forward and can get that done.
All right, so now I also understand you were just recently over to Cambodia. Tell us a little about that trip and what you were able to take away from that and also share over there.
Okay, we have a project over there where we are trying to teach the Cambodian aquaculturists to feed soybean meal pellets to fish, especially snakehead is the main fish that they're trying to feed. And we are proving to them that they can feed the soybean meal pellets to this snakehead get it to the market quicker and is actually a healthier fish than what they were feeding it before, where they were making up their own concoctions of mixing different things and cooking up mesh and stuff to make their food. If the way things are proving out, that we visited a small fishing village, and the head of that village was telling us that he was so impressed that he has put away his old methods of cooking up this food and now is convinced the others in the village that this is the way to go. If things keep continuing, it looks like in the next 20 years that Cambodia could be self-sufficient in raising their own fish because of this project going on.
All right. Well, if folks want to learn more about what the American Soybean Association is doing, get involved in the topics, tell us about how they can do that.
Well, what they need to do is get a hold of our membership in how we work together and get hold of the American Soybean Association in St. Louis or even our Washington, D.C. office to become a member, and that way they will be able to help us spread the word to our legislators. Also, you can check us out on our social media and our website, so to be able to check out what is going on with the American Soybean Association.
All right. That again was American Soybean Association Vice President Daryl Cates. Now let's take a look at that ag weather outlook. Well, we are seeing a little bit of hazy sunshine. Clouds greeted us to start the day around the Des Moines area. Now, we did hear reports of some flurries here and there and some light sprinkles around the area. Clouds, for the most part, dominated our skies, but again, I said a few peaks of sunshine did manage to go through. So what's the next 24 hours going to look like? Well, let's ask the National Weather Service. Well, as I said before, we did have a cloudier start to the day. Did see some peaks of sunshine, but also a few light flurries and some light drizzle here and there across the state. We saw highs today in the mid-30s to the low 40s. Now tonight, the skies will begin to clear gradually from the west. We'll see lows anywhere from the mid-teens to the upper 20s. And tomorrow, mostly sunny skies will be across the state. Maybe a few clouds here and there rolling through at different times of the day. But we'll see high temperatures tomorrow, anywhere from the mid-30s to the upper 40s. Taking a look at the affiliate weather map, we see tomorrow Cherokee will be mostly sunny and 34. Shenandoah mostly sunny 47. Des Moines will be mostly sunny 43. Waterloo mostly sunny and 40. Albion will be mostly sunny and 45. And Clinton also will be mostly sunny with a high of 45 degrees. For more detailed forecasts in your area, tune to your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. And that's been our Ag Weather Outlook. And with that, we're at the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn, and on our YouTube channel. And while you're there, subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified every time we put out an episode of Ag Matters PM. You can also subscribe to our free twice daily market podcast through Google, Amazon, Apple, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Riley Smith and Mark Magnuson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.